recent pickups. We just went and picked up some stuff over on. It was on Friday, so I decided to throw this video together for you here. And this is actually one of my favorite videos to make. I love doing these, and of course, one of my favorite places to go, bar none, above all, is the record store or checking out the any of these places you can get books, music, movies, all that stuff. It is like my that is my place to go above anything. I will skip any other place to go. That's where I want to go. So also I have one here that I picked up some time ago that I don't even know if I showed it on any of these. So if I did, sorry, we're gonna show it again and talk about it again. And it was same place I picked it up, but I had gotten it some time ago. So anyway, let's go through it. I got one. I got one really good one, and the rest are kind of questionable. All right, so continuing on with the same kick of the Seagal movies, I went and picked up a few more, and this kind of came from also you got to remember you got to know what you're expecting with these, and I believe it was lead. I believe you said that the cheesier the better, right? Sometimes that is a that's certainly a clause. Um, at some point during Seagal's movie tangent, I really honestly, to me, it was after Exit Wounds. Exit Wounds was the last one that he did that actually went to the theater, that was decent, that you didn't feel like that was a waste of money. That was actually a decent movie. I saw that one with my parents in the theater. Um, that was not bad. That was actually a decent movie. He put a lot of effort into that one. After that, everything went to hell. But in a way, it's just it's a good. It's if you're just looking for a mindless action movie to throw on the television and just kind of veg out, or you're not looking for anything like outstanding, it's definitely not bad. Of course, if you're into 1911, so here we go. A little bit of a background on me with Seagal. I, as a kid, when I grew up, that was my grandma's favorite character. She loved Steven Seagal, so we had again like we had the tapes, like all the originals, the good ones, Above the Law, Out for Justice, Hard to Kill, all that. And I believe we were buying them from like Costco or something. Costco used to have a ton of VHS tapes for sale. I miss those days. So anyway, that's where it kind of starts. All right, so we picked up a few. Actually, what I went to get was this one because um, this one's actually not that bad. It's called Pistol Whipped. Uh, so you can see all the previous rental stickers and stuff on it, but the record store had it. Yeah, it's got also Lance Hendrickson in it. Uh, it's it's kind of it's a decent, it's all right. It is definitely one of the better of the ones, uh, and that's not saying much. That's just, but yeah, Pistol Whipped. He's like a exiled cop. He's a cop again, yes. Um, he's a kind of an exiled cop, and he's trying to do the thing, but he's actually because he had a wife and kid. He's divorced, so he spends time with the daughter off and on, but he plays a flawed character, which is actually kind of interesting for him to play, because usually he's like one of those elitists on everything, but he's a drunk. He's a gambler, and that's his vice. That's his problem, and that gets in the way of him spending time with his daughter. He's supposed to spend quality time with his daughter, but no. Instead, he's usually hungover or something like that, or had way too much that night. So that's always been this problem. And then the new the stepdad is always, he's a cop, and he's always having to go through, make up excuses to his stepdaughter to why her father doesn't want to spend time with her. And so in the middle of all this, he's got so many gambling debts stacked up on him, markers and stuff. He runs into the old man, which is played by Lance Hendrickson. Of course, as a fan of like Pumpkinhead and Aliens and all that like that. So I love Lance Hendrickson, especially Tales from the Crypt season 2, the episode Cutting Cards. As you guys know, I love that episode. Also with Kevin Thee. But anyway, he meets up with him. He says, "Hey, if you fulfill these contracts, take these people down, I'll take care of your markers." So he's kind of at this crossroads. So he starts doing that. Anyway, corruption myths and all this stuff. And of course, he has one really cool line, which is actually comical. But I can't say the entire line here because we don't do that. But he says to the guy, "If I want any more lip from you, I will rip it off of your face." So, uh, all right, moving on. A dangerous man. And I'm not kidding you to think there's another one called a good man. So, a dangerous man. This one, okay, now I did watch all of these like pretty much back to back. Vegging out yesterday and Friday night. I'm trying to remember which one. Okay, this is one directed by Keone Waxman. If you're kind of checking these out, Keone Waxman, if he directed it, it's actually going to be somewhat decent because Keone Waxman, he's actually from Oahu, which is cool because he's a local boy, which for me that's really awesome because I'm from the islands too. Keone, it seems to be that he actually makes Seagal put a little effort into it. So this one's definitely not bad. Okay, yeah, this is the one with the Russians and I think it's the another Asian gangster type thing going on. But this has got some pretty funny moments in it. But again, this one has some of the I don't know if they like overdubbed his speech or whatever or his dialogue in it, but there's like a part where he comes out of the liquor store. He gets wrongfully accused, goes to prison, comes out, loses everything. Now he's a dangerous man. Anyway, he walks up to these guys like gonna hold him up or something like that, and he tells them, he says, and it's weird because it's like in this other voice, and it's like you can see him like talking, but it's like you could clearly tell somebody else overdubbed it. And it's like he goes, "Let me tell you something, man. So see, like I got out of prison for doing something I didn't do, and I used to like study real hard how to, take care of people like you or something like that." It's like really bad dialogue, but there's some pretty decent gunplay in it, everything like that. Again, this is actually a decent one, far as the cheeseball type, movies go. So it's not bad. All right, moving on to Shadow Man. Okay, Shadow Man. Uh, this one's this one's not bad. There's definitely worse ones than Shadow Man. This one's kind of interesting because he gets locked into this little room, this one sequence, and he like tends to, or he gets locked in his room, so he's gonna try to get out. So he like dumps all the drawers out, and he winds up with all that building like elaborate bombs. Really, like a zip gun made out of like pipes with shotgun shells and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. For whatever reason, he breaks handles off of old steak knives and duct tapes them together, and that's like a throwing thing. So instead of just throwing the one knife, so instead of like saying, "Hey, look, I got two steak knives. That's two times I can throw these." No, let's break them in half and then duct tape them together so I only have one. I don't know. But anyway, he is given uh, without his knowledge, given some kind of disease type thing, uh, biological warfare kind of stuff. He gets passed on to it. All right, somebody passes it to him without him knowing, and he's carrying it throughout. Figures it out. His daughter gets kidnapped, so he's trying to get her back and all this stuff. And then, of course, a bunch of action, killing, shoot 'em up, all in the middle, intertwined. But this one has one of the goofiest things I've ever seen for a while. In the beginning when they introduce him, he's kind of going through this thing where he's on the mat doing all this kung fu stuff to people, and it kind of reminds me of it was totally a take from Above the Law. When you actually watch Above the Law in the beginning, what's he doing? He's doing that big, demonstration with all the people. So it's kind of a take on that. So he's doing this thing where he's like, and then boom, the guy flies across the room and smashes through tables. And then he's like, okay, and then there's this, he goes, then there's internal. And then he like does it, and he supposedly like, he does it to a watermelon, and he busts the watermelon into pieces, or the other end of the watermelon comes out, kind of like the exit wound or something like that. So anyway, there's this like goofy part where he does that demonstration. The guy comes up to him and goes, hey, Sifu. Uh, and it's so funny. It's like, he's it's like this, I don't know, but he's like, oh, I want to learn more about that. Can you train me? Can you teach me? So Steven Seagal decides to just like do the same move and power punches the guy through a wall. So that's Shadow Man. Again, if you're into the cheesy movies, I mean, they're entertaining. They're entertaining. All right. Here comes Kill Switch. Kill Switch is certainly um, absolutely just, I mean, it is one of the, it's not bad. Okay, it's not, I mean, yeah, it's not bad. He's a detective. I mean, actually, this one's written by him too. Steven Seagal actually wrote this, and actually, with that in mind, I wonder if he did write the other ones just for kicks. I want to see. No, okay, he didn't write that one. Um, it doesn't appear that he wrote. He wrote some of Shadow Man, so you can tell where he that makes sense with the whole intro with that. But he entirely looks like he entirely wrote Kill Switch. Um, Great. It's actually not that bad. It's I wouldn't say it's like phenomenal or anything, but the one thing that bothers the heck out of me is the way he talks in this. I don't know what his whole deal is. If he's trying to like sound hip or cool or whatever, even that's supposed to even mean these days. Instead of, I guess, being you, you follow a trend to be cool. I guess I don't know. Which I don't really like the way he talks in it. It's kind of stupid. It's got Isaac Hayes in it, um, and it's Mark Coley, or I don't know, however you say it. He's a musician. Kind of looks a lot like Johnny Cash in a little bit, but a lot smaller. But he's in it. It's not bad. If you can get over the way he talks, it's not bad. And also there's a scene where he has this big shootout in an alley, and he tends to fire like 100 rounds out of his 1911 that doesn't ever seem to run out of ammunition. Really neat, because the one thing I recall about this after watching it, whatever 1911 they were using for it and how it ran with the blanks was actually really, really reliable for a change. Usually, when you see those blank guns operating, they don't operate the best. And this one, whatever 1911 they adapted or whatever used for this to use for the blanks, works really well. So you can clearly see it's not like it doesn't appear to be like CGI. You can actually see the shells kicking out, and they kick out with some authority. So that was really neat. I would have really liked to know the special effects on that and the effects on that pistol that they used for it and how they came to accomplish that, because that was really neat. But again, entertaining, totally cool. It does have a somewhat of an interesting story, kind of like a serial killer kind of guy going around. He's demented, usual stuff going around, attacking people, tries to frame Seagal, all that kind of stuff. So decent, no, not bad, not bad. All right, last one. This one, Absolution, another Keone Waxman movie. So it's actually decent in a sense. It's got Vinnie Jones in it, and it's also got this other dude that that acts with him, uh, and he's this other Asian guy. He's actually really cool because he's been in a few of Seagal's movies. Sometimes he's the antagonist or whatever, or sometimes he's his adversary. But this one, he's partnered up with him, and just like Out for a Kill, I think he's with him in that one. Same guy. But I like the guy. He's actually a really good actor. He's really cool. He just has a cool look to him too. And but he's in it, and he's partners up with him, so it's decent. And then of course Vinnie Jones plays a pretty sadistic character, which I actually would have rather have had Vinnie Jones. I prefer Vinnie Jones as a good guy or a cool guy versus a bad guy. So although he does play a really good bad guy, maybe that's why I dislike him as a bad guy so much, because he's really good at doing it. But he's also really good at being a good guy. So Absolution, not bad. They're basically a couple of specialist kind of guys that go around taking care of business, get hooked up with this girl. She needs help. They decide to help her. They go through, and it's pretty much. I've actually watched it twice now, and it's not bad. It's just the one thing that is super distracting on this is his goatee, and I don't know. His hair is kind of weird too. It's always been kind of weird after his mid 90s. Um, Somehow his hair just looks so weird. His goatee is no different. It just looked his goatee look. It reminds me of like that circular bristle brush on one of those giant shop vacs, and you just took that and attached it to your face. So that's kind of what's weird. And this is the only one I've got that he has that, and now he has got that weird goatee through all of his recent ones that I mean, it's kind of distracting for me. Um, Makes him look weird. So anyway, there it is. Toes for toes. All right. Next one up here, I got this. This is actually the cheapest of the bunch, and I picked it up mainly because it was $2.50, and it's one of my favorite movies, The Sting. This one is needs no introduction. The Sting is one of the most amazing movies made. Paul Newman, Robert Redford. I mean, this movie is. I love this movie. I can't stress how much I love this movie. This movie is so cool, and of course, it's got my. It's got Robert Shaw in it too. Robert Shaw plays Lonigan, Doyle Lonigan, and you're gonna remember that. But really good movie. Love this movie, and it's like a special edition or something like that. It's like a keep case. It's got 2 discs in it. Really cool. Really awesome. It's really looking brand new. So yeah, it's even still got the back slip on it. It's still attached and everything like that. Great movie about about basically conning people. Awesome stuff. So anyway, and the last one we're going to talk about here. I know I keep saying the last, but it's that one that I picked up. This one I picked up some time ago. This is a special edition of Last House on the Left, the late Wes Craven. I'm a big Wes Craven fan. If you haven't noticed by the background and stuff like that, Wes Craven's one of my favorite directors of the time. Growing up for me and watching a lot of his movies from the 80s was absolutely just, I mean, I love having that childhood. So this is a special edition of Last House on the Left. This one comes from Arrow Video. A lot of stuff from Arrow Video, especially these big box type things, tends to go out of print quickly. If not, and then they get, if not fast, they eventually do, and then they're kind of collectible. My set of House, the cheesy 80s kind of cool movie from that back then, the first two, the first one's the best, always is. But I have an Arrow set of those, and both of them with the book, and this one comes with a book. It's a soft cover book, but it's neat. Kind of goes through all the stuff. I believe this movie came out in the 80s, or not the 80s, the late 70s, if I recall. This is like his first movie that he got out there that was just out. Yeah, I'm sorry, 72. Wow. It's pretty hardcore for that time if you've never seen it. They used to, according to what I read, they used to play this like in the 80s and like those weird like strange bars and stuff that they used to always be constantly playing, according to what Robert Englund said. And it's also got a really cool poster, everything like that. In fact, I kind of do remember doing this on a video. And then of course the DVD and everything like that. And the cool thing is it's got lobby cards in it. It's got multiple discs in it. It's a really cool one. And where's the thing? It always says, it goes, yeah, here it is. To avoid fainting, keep repeating, it's only a movie. It's only a movie. So this one's really cool. Old school, just shock kind of film that came out during that time. It's kind of neat because the aspect of Wes Craven, he was obsessed with booby trapping. So Last House on the Left is certainly full of booby traps, and the original Nightmare on Elm Street, cool poster that my buddy got for me. So, full of traps. Nancy creates a bunch of traps, and that comes from him having a booby trap book, and he became really fascinated with doing that. So that's really awesome. Um, Again, Wes Craven really made some landmark movies and just absolutely really cool stuff that he did, and that's definitely one of those odd, weird movies. So, anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And that is all the recent pickups and a little bit of chat about them, good or bad.